Once, one of Hollywood's most admired couples, Jason Momoa and Lisa Bonet, made many believe they would be together forever. But after more than a decade together, their marriage came to an abrupt end. A year later, Jason finally revealed the real reason, and what he said shocked many. What happened? What was the reason behind their split? Let's find out the secrets that have never been revealed. From Serendipity to Forever. How Lisa Bonet and Jason Momoa came to be and they got married. In the beginning, the love story between Jason Momoa and Lisa Bonet seemed like something out of a dream. And for a while, it appeared to be indestructible. Immediately after their first encounter, Jason was enthralled with Lisa, and he was convinced that she was the lady he had been looking for his entire life. On the other hand, a story that resembles a fairy tale does not necessarily guarantee a happy ending. Even the most profound bonds can deteriorate with time, and adoration may occasionally transform into something much more problematic. 2005 was the beginning of their trip, which began in a jazz club in Los Angeles, where it appeared that fate had brought them together. Long before they saw one another, Jason, a young actor who was still trying to establish his way in Hollywood, had adored Lisa from a distance. His admiration for Lisa's stunning appearance on The Cosby Show, in which she played the renowned role of Denise Huxtable, began when he was a youngster. One thing that he kept with him into adulthood was the admiration that he had for her when he was younger. He would frequently joke with his friends that he would eventually marry her. What had begun as a crush on a youngster eventually turned into a situation that was happening. Immediately, as he lay eyes on her, Jason was aware that he needed to leave a lasting impression. He was completely enamored. However, it was Lisa. Even though they were younger than each other, there was an evident spark between them. A woman who was 12 years older than her, Lisa, had previously been through love, heartache, and parenthood. At the same time, she was calm, smart, and grounded. On the other side, Jason was a rambunctious individual who was brimming with vitality, humor, and an enthusiasm that was almost childhood-like. Despite this, she continued to feel a strong attraction to him. Jason was equally captivated by her profound knowledge and peacefulness, both of which he had seen as admirable from a distance, but had never completely comprehended until he had the opportunity to experience them firsthand. Almost immediately, they were connected. The free-spirited and daring personality of Jason provided a natural counterpoint to the grounded and peaceful energy of Lisa. Their bond became stronger, and it was based on a foundation of passion, adventure, and a profound emotional connection. When they welcomed their first child, Lola, in 2007, it became abundantly evident that this was not only a passing romance between the two of them alone. This event marked the beginning of a new family, one that was founded on trust, mutual respect, and love that was not conditional. It was in 2008 when they had their second child, Nicoa Wolf, and their connection to one another only became deeper through the years. Their connection seemed to be unbreakable. The reality, however, is that outward appearances are not always accurate. It felt like the ideal conclusion to their love journey when they eventually made it official in 2017. They tied the knot in a ceremony that was not just private, but also very intimate. Nevertheless, something else was going on behind the scenes of the illuminating headlines and the admiring reactions on social media. They did not separate overnight, but the seeds of their separation were sowed. Furthermore, although Jason had previously believed that Lisa would be his forever, the fissures that had been slowly developing would eventually become difficult to ignore. Cracks beneath the surface, streaks and rumors in the marriage of Jason and Lisa. Although every couple has difficulties in their love journey, Jason Momoa and Lisa Bonet's marriage wasn't flawless from the start. They were there, expanding, and soon to be inconvenient to ignore. Their once inseparable bond started to weaken. It wasn't enough to wonder what went wrong. The real question was when Jason began to perceive Lisa differently. For a long time, Jason and Lisa gave the impression that they were a perfectly coordinated pair who had no trouble juggling their work and family lives. But Lisa's life was quite different from Jason's, as his celebrity status soared, bringing him blockbuster movies and countless prospects in Hollywood. She had been through the ups and downs of life before, so she sought solace in a peaceful life away from the constant glare of stardom. Stability, balance, her family, and peacekeeping had become her top goals. The man she fell for was finally living out his aspirations, which were drastically different from her fantasies. As a result of his breakout role in Aquaman, Jason found himself immersed in a never-ending stream of publicity, worldwide premieres, and production schedules. As he took on more and more prestigious roles, he felt further distant from the home they had created. At the same time, Lisa had no interest in returning to the spotlight since she had seen the mayhem of Hollywood when she was younger. She treasured her time alone, peaceful times, and the reassuring support of her family in Los Angeles. The actual distance was bearable at the outset, but it quickly became more than that. It got personal. New co-stars, industry heavyweights, and famous connections were always popping up in Jason's life. In contrast, Lisa was paralyzed with waiting for the man who had been all hers before. Anxietiest of all was Lisa's tight bond with Lenny Kravitz, her ex-husband. Despite Jason's awareness of their co-parenting relationship, sources claim he started to feel the strain of their close bond. A subtle but enduring tension existed between them because of Lenny's regular appearances and Lisa's intense emotional investment in her past. The continual reminder of Lisa's life ahead of him was difficult for Jason, even if he openly professed his affection for Lenny. He had put in countless hours trying to build a life for Lisa, yet he still felt like he was just half of her. Could he have been the one or only another part of her narrative? After that, the turning point arrived. An unsettling insight that Jason could no longer ignore was set in motion by a single remark, one that he would come to deeply regret. A buddy of Jason's remembers an argument in which Jason allegedly said, "She's disgusting," under his breath because he was so frustrated. Did someone want to hurt Lisa, or was there a more sinister motive? Perhaps it reflects the bitterness and misery he feels inside. The couple's divergent views on parenting simply served to heighten the already present tensions. Lisa, who is very regimented and controlled, wished for stability for their kids, while Jason, who is much more carefree and adventurous, preferred a more chaotic and unpredictable lifestyle. Their once great team dynamic has become a continuous point of contention. After that, everything changed in 2020. The COVID-19 epidemic should have strengthened their bond by forcing them to spend more time together. Rather, it widened their gaps and revealed the widening divide. Jason, accustomed to motion and activity, felt confined, while Lisa sought comfort in regularity and contemplation. They appeared unable to overcome the vast emotional divide that existed between them. Things had been looking bleak for a while before they made their split public. At last, Jason had accepted something terrible but indisputable. They were both exhausted from carrying the burden of an unbreakable love. A startling declaration, the notorious breakup of Jason and Lisa. Everything that had been discussed behind closed doors was brought to light by January 2022. The shocking news of Jason Momoa and Lisa Bonet's split stunned the globe. Love, adventure, and an indisputable bond had previously appeared to bind the pair together, but now they were apart. The pair confirmed what few expected with a sincere joint message on social media. After dating for almost 12 years and being married for 4 years, they hadn't spoken to one another since October 2020. The news came as a shock to the many admirers of their relationship who had held their love for them in high esteem. Two individuals who exemplified unity and commitment could not have strayed so far from one another. The message had an air of maturity and respect, despite its very personal nature. It was a low-key admission that their lives had taken different directions. There were no accusations or animosity. Writing on the profound difficulties and changes in their own lives, as well as the world at large, they acknowledged that everyone has felt the pinch and changes of these transformative times. The true question, though, lay behind those words. Was this genuinely about personal progress, or had long-suppressed tensions suddenly flared up? The continued feeling of closeness between them was even more unexpected. There was an acceptance on both sides that love couldn't sustain their relationship. There was no resentment or finger-pointing. The Wolf parents promised their supporters that their love and dedication to their kids, Lola and Nakoa, will never change. They both expressed their commitment to co-parenting and their shared goal of providing a secure and loving home for their children, regardless of the challenges they may face in their own lives. Did the absence of drama and controversy indicate that the separation had been painless? The public's sense of intrigue was heightened. Why now? Why did they decide to leave after years of riding the roller coaster of Hollywood and their personal growth? Jason said nothing more to explain the choice, but he knew that the pent-up emotions and buried tensions from their history would eventually come to the surface. The solutions would take some time to materialize. A year would pass before Jason would speak, before the reality that was hidden behind their elegant farewell would be revealed. Not only did he eventually come to terms with the reasons for their divorce, but he also detailed the exact moment he knew his marriage was finished. A peaceful resolution. The amicable manner in which Jason and Lisa separated. When January 2023 rolled around, the chapter that had appeared to be destined to continue indefinitely was finally brought to a close. In a court in Los Angeles, the divorce between Jason and Lisa was legally formalized, bringing an end to one of the most admired partnerships in the entertainment industry. There was no scandal, no spectacular judicial fights, simply a polite farewell to the life that they had made together. The paperwork that was made public about the divorce said that the cause for their separation was irreconcilable differences. This is a word that frequently alludes to more profound disagreements that have not been disclosed. Nevertheless, the significance of those words extended far beyond the scope of a mere legal formality for Jason and Lisa. By the time the legal paperwork was filed, the couple had already reached an agreement on every significant issue, including shared custody of their two daughters, Lola and Nicola Wolf, as well as a fair split of assets. The couple had been apart for more than 2 years before making their separation public. Their divorce was characterized by a remarkable smoothness and amicability throughout the processes, which is perhaps one of the most stunning elements of their divorce. In contrast to the lengthy court fights, public allegations, and bitter feuds that are typically associated with high-profile celebrity divorces, Jason and Lisa's separation was everything but. How they decided to dissolve their marriage was an example of maturity and respect for one another. Both parties waived any financial claims, which suggests that they had previously privately worked out their financial concerns. Neither party requested spousal or child support, and the other party waived any financial claims. The assets and income were shared in a manner that was fair and respectful to both parties, which spared them the stress and drama that would have been caused by a drawn-out court struggle. It was just two individuals calmly recognizing that their love had run its course. There were no accusations, and there were no insults spoken between them. Those with knowledge of the situation were quick to praise the pair for their level-headed and courteous demeanor. Jason and Lisa decided to go in a different direction. Despite working in a field where private lives are frequently dissected for the convenience of the public. One of the couple's closest friends stated that they have always been private individuals and that they have done all in their power to ensure that their personal lives remain exactly that, private. Their attention was always focused on them and ensuring that they were in good health. Nothing was different about the divorce. It was about ensuring that they did not bring any further stress to the lives of their children. The steadfast commitment that they had to their children, Lola and Nikoa Wolf, was the driving force for their particular choice. Despite all of the changes that were taking place in their life, there was one thing that stayed constant. Never in their lives would Lola and Nikoa Wolf be forced to pick a side. To guarantee that both parents would continue to play an equally active role in their children's lives, even if they were no longer together as a couple, they reached an agreement on joint legal and physical custody of their children. It was a commitment that was made in silence to shield them from the turmoil that is so frequently associated with broken relationships that are publicized. However, even in the most amicable of separations, feelings continue to remain. Despite the diplomatic terms and quiet resolves, Jason was struggling with something more profound, something that he would eventually come to acknowledge. Although the rest of the world witnessed a couple elegantly parting ways, Jason was aware that something had been lost somewhere along the road. Eventually, the truth is revealed, and Jason Momoa reveals the true reasons for the breakup of his relationship. Over several months, Jason did not speak, leaving the entire world to wonder. There were murmurs of adultery, job problems, and secret betrayals that flooded the news. Rumors were circulating, while hypotheses were being disseminated. However, Jason was not yet prepared to engage in conversation. Up till this point, as a result of their divorce, he found himself at a crossroads in his life where he was congratulated on his achievements, but also carrying the burden of an ending that he had never really anticipated. At first, he decided to avoid answering the inquiries, dismissing the conjecture with courteous smiles and comments that were ambiguous. On the other hand, as time went on, the want to share his perspective on the matter grew increasingly difficult to ignore. After a year had passed, he finally spoke, and the words he uttered presented a picture that was far more complicated than anybody had anticipated. Jason, at long last, disclosed the underlying issues that had been progressively deteriorating his marriage in an interview that was conducted exclusively for him. The truth was excruciating, but it also came with a sense of liberation. What is the truth? What is hidden behind the silence? Are they really at peace? Separation. Although he had spent years concealing his problems behind a facade of prosperity, he was now prepared to face the truth about what had transpired. A few years ago, I was having a hard time finding a job. At this point, my professional life is flourishing. He started, his voice strong, yet laced with the weight of introspection that he had been experiencing. A certain sense of pride is associated with achieving one's goals. What you don't hear, however, is that there is a cost associated with it. Jason took a momentary pause. He was absorbing more than just the words that he was uttering at that moment. This wasn't only about a marriage that ended in divorce. It was about all that he had lost as a result of his subsequent success. Lisa has not shown any interest in accompanying me to any of the locations where I am filming. She is content with her life in Los Angeles. It was a stark contrast to the glossy picture that so frequently surrounds him because his tone was so straightforward and honest. It was verified by others who were close to the marriage that the tension that had developed between him and Lisa was not something that could be easily ignored or addressed straightforwardly. The physical and emotional gap had grown to the point where it was impossible to overcome. Over several years, Jason had been comparable to any other actor who was attempting to land his next assignment, navigating a profession that provided no assurances. On the other hand, When Aquaman arrived, everything was different. As if by magic, Jason became a worldwide celebrity, and he was immediately thrust into a life filled with non-stop publicity, high-stakes business negotiations, and constant travel. He found himself in the position of living a life that he had only imagined before. Work is never done to a stop. The timetables for filming are quite demanding. Jason thought to himself that the press trips were never ending. For many years, I have been constantly on the go. The time zones are always changing, and I hardly have time to catch my breath throughout this chaotic situation. However, what I failed to recognize was that the one who had consistently been at my side, the one who had been there for me when things were difficult, was being abandoned. The more I persisted in my pursuit of achievement, the farther I distanced myself from her. When he recounted the innumerable occasions on which Lisa had chosen to remain at their house in Los Angeles at the expense of Jason's departure to another filming location, he did so with a genuine sense of melancholy in his voice. It was something else that he was pursuing, something that was leading him farther and farther away from the life that they had constructed together. Jason confessed that the fundamental problem was not simply a matter of distance between us. It concerned how success altered me. My identity was altered to the point where I no longer recognized myself, and as a result, I lost the person who understood me better than anybody else. Lisa, on the other hand, has always placed a high importance on silence. Simple joys and the reassuring atmosphere of her house were the sources of her happiness. On the other hand, Jason was residing in a world that required more, and one more thing. He admitted that she does not require the continuous rush of fame and money she is experiencing. She desired tranquility. On the other hand, she was seeking something else, something more peaceful. While I was after grandeur, the realization came gradually, like a shadow, and it was a laborious process. A balance that had been ideal in the past, between their fire and water, their adventure and their stability, had been thrown off by an excessive amount. After much speculation, Jason eventually revealed that we had just become estranged from one another. It was not about a single dramatic battle or a betrayal of the other party. They were headed in opposite paths in their lives, which was a calm reality that could not be denied for a moment. He remarked, "I believe that both of us realized that our lives were no longer aligned. We were simply two individuals heading in separate directions, and we couldn't force something that wasn't there anymore. We were just two people. It wasn't anyone's fault. It's just what happens when life leads you in separate paths. No one was to blame." Jason then made a comment that caused the internet to go into a frenzy just when it appeared that he had said all that possibly could be said. You will, at some time, begin to perceive things differently. Occasionally, when I glanced at her, I couldn't help but think that she was revolting. During that brief moment, the interviewer was taken aback. Even though the statements seemed harsh and even savage, Jason swiftly explained them. By shaking his head, he stated that it was not in the way that others believed. You may say that we became strangers. How we regarded one another, how we used to respect and appreciate one another. All of these things changed. Moreover, it is difficult to feign when that adoration is no longer present. The statements made by Jason were not an assault. Rather, they were an acknowledgement of something unpleasant and something real. His perception of the lady who had previously been the center of his universe and the person he had once cherished had changed significantly, and he was aware, on some level, that she had the same feelings toward him that he did. In the last moments of the conversation, it became abundantly evident that Jason had at long last come to terms with the events that had transpired. The most authentic evidence is his sharing and journey later. What did he say about the breakdown? After breakup, Jason Momoa once shared that family is the most important thing to him. However, as his career grew, the distance in his relationship with Lisa gradually became more obvious. with a busy work schedule, he often left home to film and participate in big projects. Meanwhile, Lisa Bonet is a woman who always values tranquility and an inner life, seeking stability rather than constant adventures. When both realized that they were no longer on the same path, the decision to divorce became inevitable. Although they broke up, there was one thing they never lost: their commitment to their role as parents. In the most difficult moments, their children were the bond that helped them find peace. After their divorce, Jason and Lisa both tried to maintain the most stable environment possible for their two children, Lola Iolani Momoa, born in 2007, and Nakoa Wolf Manakawapo Namakae Eha Momoa, born in 2008. For Jason, being a father is not only a responsibility, but also the biggest source of motivation to help him overcome difficulties in life. He once shared in an interview that Lola and Nakoa are my whole world. No matter what happens, I am still their father, and that is the most important thing. Even when he is no longer living under the same roof with Lisa, Jason always makes time for his children, making sure that they never feel the lack of love from their parents. He always takes advantage of every moment to be with his children, even if it is just simple activities like going for a walk together, traveling, or simply watching a movie together at home. As for Lisa, she has always been a devoted mother. Even though her heart was broken, she still put her children first, trying to protect them from the negative effects of the divorce. Instead of letting personal conflicts affect the children, Lisa chose to maintain peace, creating a mentally safe space for Lola and Nakoa. She also constantly emphasized to her children that, although their parents are no longer together, their love for their children remains the same as in the beginning. Not only is Jason Momoa a devoted father to Lola and Nakoa, he also has a special relationship with Zoe Kravitz, Lisa's daughter, with her ex-husband, Lenny Kravitz. From the very beginning of his life with Lisa, Jason considered Zoe as his child, always supporting and encouraging her in her acting career. Even after breaking up with Lisa, the relationship between Jason and Zoe has not changed. He regularly appears at events to support Zoe, posts loving wishes on social media, and still considers her an important part of his family. This is the clearest proof of Jason's sincere affection for his family, no matter how the situation changes. Although they are no longer husband and wife, Jason and Lisa have proven that they can continue to accompany each other in the role of parents. Instead of confrontation or separation, they choose to raise their children together with the highest respect and responsibility. Jason still regularly visits his old home to visit his children, attends family events with Lisa, and always puts the interests of his children first. They understand that, although they are no longer husband and wife, they will always be father and mother to Lola and Nakoa. Their story is a testament that love can change over time, but family always exists. Not all breakups are filled with resentment or blame, but sometimes it's just an acceptance that two people have fulfilled their roles in each other's journeys. And even if life takes them on different paths, their love for their children will always be an inseparable bond. What's next for Jason and Lisa? Life after. As time goes by, fans of Jason Momoa and Lisa Bonet can't help but speculate about the possibility that the couple might one day get back together. They were once one of Hollywood's iconic couples, not only because of the romance in their relationship, but also because of the harmony of their souls, the harmony in their lifestyle, and the family philosophy they shared. For more than a decade together, Jason and Lisa built a life full of love and precious memories. They were the ideal model of a happy family, where both of them always had respect and understanding for each other. That's why, when they announced their separation, many people felt regretful, even unable to believe that such a deep love could come to an end. But love sometimes depends on more than just emotions. It is also influenced by circumstances, by the paths that each person is forced to follow. After the split, Jason Momoa quickly returned to his busy schedule. He threw himself into work, took on major film projects, explored real-life adventures, and continued to expand his career. A nature lover, Jason also spent a lot of time traveling, enjoying peaceful moments by the ocean, and embracing the outdoor life, a part of his identity from the start. However, amidst all the new things, Jason always maintained a subtle connection with Lisa. In public appearances, social media posts, and even passing comments in interviews, there was a gentle reminder of his past with Lisa. There was no bitterness, no resentment, just a sense of appreciation for what once was. Jason once said that Lisa was the love of his life, the person he had dreamed of being with since he was a boy. It was not a casual relationship, but a love that he had cherished long before they met. That made many people believe that even if they were apart, that love was still there and could one day bring them back together. As for Lisa Bonet, she has also found peace in the new phase of her life. As a woman who always pursues balance and depth in her soul, Lisa has enjoyed this time to focus on herself, nurturing her mind and body. She continues to spend most of her time with her family, taking care of her children and maintaining a private life away from the noise of the media. In her rare public appearances, Lisa still maintains her elegant appearance and familiar calm demeanor, showing that she has overcome the difficult period of her broken marriage and is moving forward on her own. But like Jason, Lisa has never completely closed the door on the past. She still maintains a good relationship with her ex-husband, shares the responsibility of raising their children with him, and respects and loves him in some way. Although Jason and Lisa are no longer a couple, they are still family. This is not only shown in the way they take care of their two children, Lola and Nakoa Wolf, but also in the way Jason always supports Zoe Kravitz, Lisa's daughter, with her ex-husband, Lenny Kravitz. Over the years, Jason and Lenny Kravitz have built a rare friendship that transcends the boundaries of their old relationships. This also reflects Jason's view of family, that although relationships may change, true feelings never disappear. Lisa has also mentioned Jason many times with words full of respect. She sees him not only as an ex-husband, but also as a companion on the journey of parenthood. Their relationship after the breakup was not filled with loud arguments or accusations, but instead with maturity, understanding, and a love for their children that helped them continue to maintain a strong bond. The question of a romantic reunion between Jason and Lisa is still a curious one for many people. With their long love history, deep attachment, and the strong relationship they still maintain, many believe that fate may bring them back together one day. But love does not always follow a simple trajectory. Sometimes, what they need is not to get back together as a couple, but to maintain a beautiful relationship differently, as two soulmates, two companions in raising children, and two people who have shared an important journey in life. For now, both Jason and Lisa are enjoying their new lives, not rushing to find a happy ending by the usual standards. But who can say what will happen in the future? With enough time to grow up, to look back, and to understand each other more deeply, perhaps they will find a way to get back together, or perhaps they will find a different kind of love, one that does not need a name to confirm it. One thing is for sure, their story is not over yet. Time will tell, and only they will know whether the love they once shared will have a new chapter. What do you think about Jason Momoa and Lisa Bonet's parenting style after their divorce? Can they be a role model for other couples who have broken up but still want to maintain a positive relationship for the sake of their children? Please share your thoughts in the comments section below. We would love to hear from you. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more interesting updates. Thank you, and see you in the next videos.